Hi,
Hi, how are you?
how are you? Okay, Dani, can you introduce yourself? Can you explain us what is your job?
Yes, I'm Daniela Georgis. I'm an English teacher. Well, I'm not an English teacher with the degree, but I'm working at secondary school here in Brickman. I've been working for 3 years. Um, and now I'm finishing the studies at SLA.
Okay, okay, I will start. In this subject, in principle and practice in second language acquisition, we are studying the causative and exposure variables in second language acquisition, the comprehensive input, the affective filter, the length of residence, the importance of language lessons, and so on. But now we have started to study different factors that influence our second language acquisition. One of them is the age. And okay, as I told you before, Stephen Krashen and other authors have investigated the effect of age in second language acquisition, and they concluded in three important and essential aspects. I have chosen the third generalization, which said that here, acquirers who begin a natural exposure to second language during childhood generally achieve higher second language proficiency than those beginning as adults. So I will add my opinion and then I ask you some questions.
Okay.
Okay. About the natural exposure during the childhood and adulthood, I have my aunt, my uncle, and my cousins, Josefina and Ignacio, who are from Argentina. But 10 years ago, my uncle got a job in England, so they had to move there. They had lived in England for about 4 or 5 years. At that time, Josefina was 11 years old and Ignacio was 4 years old. So they learned English as a second language because their friends, the context, everyone spoke that language. So they needed for communication. So they were keeping in contact with English every day. So I think that it can be an example of this point.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Okay. I would like that if you can comment to us your viewpoint or your experience teaching English by comparing the children and adults in terms of age in second language acquisition.
Okay.
So can you answer me some questions?
Yes, of course.
Okay, the first. Can you explain us your viewpoint or your experience teaching English to adults or children?
Yes, well, when I worked with adults, the thing that I saw was that they need a constant translation of the words and the structures. They need to compare all the time with the Spanish and the English. It's more difficult for adults, in my experience, to learn the language without the translation. and instead for children, they learned more easily, and they don't need a translation. For example, with my child, she asked me the numbers and I count up to 10. So with the comparison 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, she learns the numbers like that. Or maybe she asks, how do you say rojo in English? Or how me pregunta, she asks me in Spanish, ¿cómo se dice rojo? ¿Cómo se dice verde? ¿Cómo se dice? And then she invents the words, or maybe in some cases she uses it. For example, she learned so. So when she doesn't feel good, she say, me siento so. Or the milk was so. La leche estuvo so, mamá. Like that. So she learned some phrases and get used to use it. Instead, for adults, it's more difficult. And for example, I teach teenagers, and the ones that started an academy or a school of English when they were children, they are most used to the language, in contrast with those who see the language or are presented the language in secondary school. The difference, you have a difference in that. I think that I answered your question.
Yes. Okay, the other question, do you think that age influence over second language acquisition? Why?
Yes, I think that age influence second language acquisition. For example, children are faster learners than adults. And there are many theories that support that idea. And also because the brain plasticity. The children are more like sponge, so they can absorb everything in their environment, and adults has a different point of view or a different way of learning, and that's change the way that people learn. I think.
Yes, as I told you before, I think that adults had the grammatical structure of their first language in their mind.
Yes, it's like they compare the grammar systems and how do you say a word. I think that in that case is different. For example, I think that your aunt and your uncle, they learned the English or a second language, but maybe they have more time to get accustomed to that kind of language, and your cousins, on the other hand, will learn it more faster or easier. And also there is a difference between the exposure, the time exposure, the input. It's not the same. A person who lives in the target language, for example, your family who had to go to London, and we, for example, that have 2 or 3 hours per day or a week to learn a different language. So the learning is different.
Yes. Okay. Is childhood or adulthood the best way to learn English? Who are superior in second language acquisition? Older or child acquirers? Why?
Okay, I think that childhood is superior because, as I told you before, the brains learn things more easily when you are younger than when you are an adult. So in my opinion, when you are young, you can learn better the sounds, the pronunciation, the intonation of the word, and maybe the context when you use that word. But there are different factors that you need to acquire a second language. I think that youngers are superior than adults.
What is the phrase that you told me yesterday? Younger, better? No.
The younger,
I
the
can't
better?
remember.
No?
Yes.
The younger,
Yes.
the better, yes.
Better.
For example, I have a friend that she's living in Germany. She went there knowing some English and Spanish. And she told me that the first time she could work because she knows English. So for communication, she used English. But then she needed to learn German in order to do paperwork when she needed to go to the bank, or maybe when she needed to go to the doctors. Well, she studied German there, and then she moved to Spain 2 years. And when she came back to Germany, she realized that some structure and some vocabulary was missing. So she needed to study again. And she is, I think that 35, 36 years old. So that is another example because she was in a target language, she learned Germany, but when she left, she forgot some structures and words. And maybe if she went there when she was younger, or when she was, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old, maybe she didn't have that kind of problems.
Yes.
I believe that the age is a great factor to acquire a second language.
Yes, me too. Okay, I have no more questions.
Okay.
Okay.
I hope
Okay.
I could help you.
Yes.
This time.
Of course. And thanks for your time, for your explanations.
Okay, then don't worry.
I understand.
Thank you, and see you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.